Good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Corny cop, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news. And as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You are right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, supporting honest Native news, stories, and events from Natives themselves. Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon.
I like being like a broken clock, right once a day, or twice a day. And so I was right on that. Hey, before we get to our guest, Dr. Stately, Haley, I have a question. What time of year is it?
I think we're just creeping into 2024.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Yes.
What else is it the time of year of?
Well, there's still time here to head over to MNsure.org and get set up with a professional navigator to help get the perfect health insurance plan. Going into 2024, MNsure is our one-stop destination for health insurance and tax savings in the state, and they provide friendly assistance to everyone, no matter your income. So if you need that resource, please head over to MNsure.org.
Hey, did you see that, Dr. Stately, the professionals that we are? It's like, isn't that crazy? Hey, we're here with Dr. Stately, Executive Director of Native American Community Clinic here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and our friend, hockey father, just all around really great person. And thank you so much for coming on. I know you have in your schedule for Mondays, but we're really excited to be able to talk to you and talk to you a little bit about the holidays. And as you can see, I'm on week 4 of this, if you can hear in my voice, still 100%. And wow.
Kind of nasally there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You sound like, you need,
I sound like,
I would say like what you need is a hot toddy, but you can't really have a hot toddy. So.
Well, I sound like I have been smoking Marlboros and whiskey for many, many years, and I gave them all up. Cigarettes 18 years ago, but drinking a long time ago.
Yeah. You can actually have a really good hot toddy that will actually help you, and will also taste really delicious. So they have an alcohol-free hot toddy at the food co-op on Franklin, Seward Food Co-op, on Franklin Avenue and Riverside.
Yeah,
really delicious hot toddy. It'll clear you right up.
Meet me there tomorrow.
Yeah. I have a hockey tournament all weekend, so I don't know where I'm.
What was that, Haley?
Yeah, well, I don't know what that drink is, but I also don't drink alcohol, so I don't know if that's a surprise. But speaking of sober things, there's our sobriety powwow that's coming up this New Year's Eve.
And Dr. Stately, you know the history. The Amester Gangsters, along with your mother and people on the Avenue, started that powwow. Yeah,
way back in the late 70s, I think. Probably maybe. I'm trying to remember. It might have been early, the 78, 79. Around the time I was graduating from high school, I think is when it started. Ironically, that her son would become an alcoholic after. She started that powwow. So actually, I think it was the year after I got sober. So,
it's crazy. What about that article I sent you, text you? That was crazy. I was looking on eBay, and then I know you've talked about your mother's work in the past, and there it was on an article in eBay.
Yeah, I've been having all these really strange, not strange, but just coincidental experiences. A couple weeks ago, I was, I do this work with the University of Minnesota on this community engaged research. I'm on the management council for that. They work with clinics like mine and a few other organizations doing community engaged healthcare research. And I'm in the management council and board, and I just went to my first meeting because they reconstituted and redeveloped. And one of the women that was on the council, she walked up to me and she says, "Was your mother Elaine Stately?" And I said, "Oh yeah, she was."
Oh.
And this older woman, and she said, "Oh my gosh!" And she went on and told me, like, your mother taught me everything I knew. She was a community activist. I knew her back when she worked at Elliott Park as a community organizer, and she was, and then she said that she taught me everything I know about being a community engagement specialist, and all the work that I've done since. Knowing her has been helpful in her career in community organizing and engagement. So it's kind of a nice thing to sort of, a gift to sort of like meet somebody that had known my mom. And I had another experience like that not too long ago where somebody had said, like, "Oh yeah, I have all these stories about your mom. I got to get together and have coffee with you sometime and tell you." And it's just nice to have those experiences. I didn't know my mom. My mom died when I was very young. My mom died when I was 25. She died 2 years after I got clean and sober, and after I had moved to California. And so we didn't really have an opportunity, quite frankly, I think, to have like a relationship as adults. Like, I didn't get to know her in that way. I had some of my own, I think, problematic and distorted ideas about like what was problematic in some of our relationship when I was younger. Of course, earlier in my life, none of it had to do with the fact that I was drinking and using drugs.
Yeah.
It had, like, her. And, I blamed her for a lot of things. I blamed her for like being sent away to boarding school, and I didn't understand the context of those things. But as I got to become older and I began to get a little bit more clarity after I got clean and sober, and I also was able to sort of kind of do some work on myself, really regretted not being able to have the opportunity to have an adult relationship with her. Because as I hear about her and I hear stories from people, now as an adult, as a man raising my own children and hearing about my mother and the impact she had in the community and the work she's done, it makes me remorseful, because she sounds like the kind of person I would like to know. Sounds like the kind of person who would have been an amazing person to like know more profoundly in that way, and not just as my mom. So yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit of bittersweetness there. So
yeah. Well, she knows the work you're doing, and she's watching over you now, and I truly believe that, and it's probably super proud of you. And I know we are. We joked about it last time we talked, but it's true. We name drop your name, and the community and other people's communities within our community know you very well, and you're highly respected. So you're truly blessed. We're truly blessed to have you on the show. So it was kind of funny then that I sent you that eBay thing then too about your mom.
yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, somebody else sent me something too a couple of days ago. My nephew sent me something like out of the blue, a picture of I think it's from some older newspaper. I don't know if it's from the Star and Trib. It might have been from the Star and Trib, but it's a picture of my grandfather, his great grandfather, so my father's father, and another one, a story about how he was a translator for this guy who was a first speaker of Ojibwe and Panema, and how he sort of kind of had that role. So he spoke the language and also spoke English. And just kind of like hit me that, like, I come from these amazing people who did some amazing work. So it kind of lives in my blood, I guess. So.
Right on. Well, and you're keeping it going for sure. And we're blessed to have you in our community, and not just the Twin Cities, but the whole Native community across Turtle Island. Hey, we're here with Dr. Stately, a Native American Community Clinic Executive Director, and our friend here at Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex. Recording sexual acts without permission. Hurting someone because of their sexual orientation. Raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger. Purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a go-to card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
As we age, it's important to invest in our health and to help protect it. Like the flu, COVID-19 is always changing. That's why it's important to stay up to date on your vaccines. By getting the flu and COVID-19 vaccines, you can renew your body's defenses and lower the risk of getting sick. Get your health boost and protect yourself against the flu and COVID-19. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. That's vaccines.gov.
Hi, I'm Claudia with MinSure, Minnesota's official health insurance marketplace. With MinSure, you can compare health plans from multiple companies and get free help from a trusted expert. Whatever health plan you choose with MinSure, it's guaranteed to cover essential benefits, so you can get the care you need. See if you qualify for discounts, available only through MinSure. If you need quality, comprehensive health insurance, get started now at minsure.org.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yeah, hey, we're here with Dr. Stately, and we're just kind of talking about things like we usually do here, and sometimes it's heavy and sometimes it's heavy. And you know, it's interesting that during the holiday times we miss our relatives, and because families gather, and so it's always good to bring up their names. And I know they're watching over us and listening to us, and I know they're really proud of our Dr. Stately and his family, and so it's a double-edged sword when it comes to holidays and missing our loved ones. But yeah, I usually make Dr. Stately the 38 +2 down in Mankato, and then the beginning of the run, and it's just, you know, this cold or whatever I got is really just slowing me down, and plus it was raining hard. But we have to acknowledge our relatives and that what happened on the 26th of December many years ago, and or not that long ago, really, and you know, and talk about that. We always play Jerry Dearly saying all 38 names for us here on Native Roots Radio. So that was an awesome segment on Friday.
Yeah. Well, and I think we were able to replay that segment yesterday too for our third segment. But I heard that this year's turnout for the run was pretty great, and they had everything set up. So looking forward to maybe get someone on the show and they can share this year's experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I know Dr. Stately's playing games with us here. He's on 2 times here, but now we got him back. And Dr. Stately, we were just mentioning the 38 +2 down in Mankato and the hanging.
Yeah, I was really disappointed I couldn't go. I got sick on Christmas Day, actually. So
yeah, and I usually go too, and I'm still haven't been able to throw this. And I like to go to the beginning too at Fort Snelling when the run starts from down there too, and really encourage and have that ceremony. And
I think the the gentleman who's forget who the gentleman is that started it, but I think it's his grandson who is like running it for him now, or are managing it now, which is really awesome. And a lot of the runners and a lot of the horse people come from my son's home reservation, Crow Creek. So it's always been a really important thing for us to go. I couldn't go this weekend because yesterday because I got sick on Christmas Day. I think my sister tried to kill me with some of her pumpkin pie, which was undercooked. But
Yeah.
if she's
Pumpkin
listening, I
pie
want her
for
to know that
Christmas?
she still hasn't made it into the will yet. So
Yeah. Well, we had our vegan pumpkin pie, and I'm greasing on that stuff still with the vegan whipped cream.
yeah, no egg in that, right? So if I hadn't eaten that, I would be okay, probably.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't even think of
But
that. Yeah. Well, another reason
But
to
you
go.
know what I was thinking? I was telling somebody just today. I was like, telling them like, oh my god, I was so like my sides hurt, my back hurts, my ribs hurt from like just the just the constant hurling up
Jeez.
from it. And I was like, I haven't done that for like 38 years. Like the last time I remember throwing up like that or vomiting like
Right.
that was actually when I was drinking. Like I haven't had that experience in so long, and my body, just my entire body ached and was so sore. And my first thought was, these are symptoms that are also similar to COVID. So I like took a COVID test to make sure. I was like, wanted to make sure. I didn't want to be around anybody, and I had just been at my nephew's house for Thanksgiving or Christmas. So I was like, well, I better tell somebody, right? So I took the COVID test just to make sure. Took it twice to make sure, double times it was negative. But those are important things to know. Is also like COVID can mimic other things. So like if you think you just have the flu, or you think you just have a cold, or you think you just have a little bit of stomach flu, it could be COVID. So take a test. So
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. Again, we talked about the story a bunch of times, but with your prodding, I took a test and I was had the same symptoms that you had, and lo and behold, I had COVID, and now I'm still, I don't know, doing the long run here or something.
I walked into your house and I diagnosed you like an old Indian. I just took one look at you and said, "Hey, I think you have COVID. You better take a test, my
Yeah.
son." And then like
And,
good thing
and then
nobody
you
else
said,
saw that, because back in the day I would have been burned at the stake for that kind of behavior.
"Oh, I think you got COVID. You got $20? By the way." It's like, oh, COVID, what? $20?
That is such a good thing, though, that you guys stayed home when you're not feeling well. There's so much going around right now, not even just COVID and RSV, but so many germs. And, I advise people, our symposium came out over the weekend. It already has, I think, over 28,000 views on Facebook. So if you get sick of listening to us and you want to come watch us, head over to our Facebook page or YouTube and watch our December COVID-19 symposium. I think there's a lot of great reminders in there.
Wait, Haley, you sick of us? No, if you want more of us, go to that. Because
Yes,
we're the
that's what I
same
meant.
people.
We're a little more serious than that than we are here today. So anyway, but also I was gonna say, I remembered in that, actually I talked about this I think in our symposium, like how I have to go get the RSV vaccine because I don't want to get RSV. I still have some residual lung stuff going on from when I was sick 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, with COVID. And so like when I get when I just even get a little tickle in my throat or a little cough, it like really settles in my lungs fairly rapidly. And I'm supposed to go to Scotland here in March in a couple of years. And so I'm going to be on a plane for 18 hours with a bunch of people I don't know. So I'm going to have to make sure I have like all the things covered. So
You're going to
Oh
Scotland?
yeah, did I fail to tell you I'm going to Scotland?
Yeah. For how long? Do we have to do some pre-records before you leave?
For 10 days. We might have to do pre-records, or maybe we could do live stuff. I think it'd be the middle of the night though. But I have this strategy I'm going to do too. But I'm going to take a little Red Lake flag with me because I can't go all the way to Oneida to get a flag. But so I'll just claim some Red Lake, and I'm going to go around Scotland and I'm going to reclaim territory. Kind of do to them what they did to us. They're just going to be like, just going to claim Balmore Castle and a few other places and just say this is indigenous land. Get off.
Take a picture. I got a little teeny 6-inch Ho Chunk flag I'll send with you too. It's got a stand. You can put it up there and then just use the background. Take a picture.
Yeah.
Skoden.
Skoden.
And I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to go down to London and go visit those guys with the fuzzy hats in front of the castle and try to make one of them talk or laugh or maybe even sneeze. I don't know.
Well,
They say you can't do it. They've been trained so well that they won't react to anything.
Well, they those fezzes or whatever the heck they're called. I guess Wendy was telling me there's like it takes 5 bears to make one of those hats. So of course we're disgusted over here.
And there's like a whole slew of them in front of the castle. There's like 20 of them. Like what the hell?
There's
All those
more
bears
than
on the top.
And they don't smile. Do you watch The Crown on Netflix?
I am going to watch the last season now this week. I'm going to do it. I just watched it. And I was surprised. I didn't know it was. I was like, Diana died in the last season, and I was like, well, I already know what's going to happen here. So then I was like,
yeah.
But I guess I already know what's going to happen in the last one too. It's like we already know what's going to happen. So she dies.
I think we already knew after the first one too that the father died, and so she became queen in The Crown. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I watched it the first season. I watched like the first 2 seasons when I was sick with COVID. Yeah.
And when I ended the first season, I texted a friend of mine and I said, I think I'm supposed to be royalty because I related to so much of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, I was born into the wrong family. I think I'm supposed to be born into royalty. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I know. Some of my relatives hug like they're royalty. You know what I mean? They're like not good huggers. Let's just say that.
Oh, got it. Okay, I don't know. Like if you meant like it was they're hugging you. Anyway, we won't go there.
We might talk about that in the next symposium. So stay tuned. No, just kidding.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we got a minute left, and I know your kids are playing hockey tonight, and you're doing us a favor coming on your not your normal night, and we really appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about what they're doing tonight.
They're going to get some rest. Actually, they already played the one game that they played. They're not going to play again until tomorrow, I guess. So, but my son Chasuke just scored his first career goal as a JV player. So that's a pretty good thing. And the other one took a bad hit, so we'll have to see if he can play tomorrow. I'm going to get him evaluated.
Yeah. Well, hey, Dr. Stately, thanks for coming on, and stay safe out there.
Sure.
It's just like that movie when we were a kid. It's a mad, 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 mad world out there.
It is. Take care. Be safe, everyone. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year. We'll see you soon. Hey, that was Dr. Stately, Executive Director of Native American Community Clinic. Up next, Bob Blake from Red Lake. I always love to say that. Solar Bear with the Solar News. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
As we gear up for the holidays, let's keep our friends, relatives, and elders protected from COVID-19. Even though the emergency declaration is over, COVID-19 is still a concern, especially for those with compromised immune systems. So when you get together this holiday season, opt for outdoor gatherings if weather permits or well-ventilated indoor spaces. And here's a tough one. If you're feeling unwell before your gathering, stay home. It may not be much fun, but it goes a long way towards keeping our cherished elders healthy. After your event, keep an eye on your health. Test if you notice symptoms. If you're traveling in crowded places like airports, put on a mask for that extra layer of protection. Let's make this holiday season the healthiest ever, securing a brighter future for our Native community. For more tips, visit health.state.mn.us. That's health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health. Unveil the captivating world of native photography at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Their new exhibit, In Our Hands, Native Photography 1890 to Now, turns the camera around and puts native photographers in control, featuring hundreds of photographs captured by generations of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and Native Americans. You'll view the world through their lens, revealing the beauty and complexity of Indigenous heritage. Don't miss this incredible experience. Visit In Our Hands at the Minneapolis Institute of Art now through January 14th. For more info, visit artsmia.org.
Winter is here, and there's a good chance your home isn't being heated efficiently. And it's likely because of air sealing and insulation problems. Inadequate attic insulation is the leading contributor to high energy bills, cold rooms, and ice dams. Great news, the energy-efficient pros at Snap Construction can fix it all. Stop the heat from leaking out and save. Call 612-333-SNAP or visit snapconstruction.com for your free infrared energy inspection. Install with Snap Construction and qualify for over $750 in rebates and incentives. State and city programs are now offering 0% financing for qualifying insulation upgrades. So call Snap Construction for your free insulation energy consultation and start saving on your energy bills. Call 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed insulation and exterior contractor in the metro area.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Cloudy tonight with a low of 28, then cloudy on Thursday with a high of 39.
Get the appliances you've been dreaming of for less at Warner Stellian's year-end clearance. Shop closeouts, scratch and dent, and floor models. Plus, buy more to save more. Take 10% off 2 red tags and 15% off 3 at Warner Stellian's year-end clearance.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we have Robert Blake from Red Lake, our friend Solar Bear with the Solar News. And Robert also is CEO of Native Sun, a nonprofit company out there doing solar work with our youth and all the people. And there's that hat again, Robert. You got to take me and my Hinu here and Chujunk to a Timberwolves game. They have their only team that doesn't have double losses.
Yeah, I mean the Timberwolves are actually having a great season, aren't they? They have the best record in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking about well, obviously my brother, right? Because that was his native name. And then I think of Howling for Wolves every time I see this.
Yeah.
I think of Wendy. Remember when I first met Wendy? She was she told me, she says, "Bob, do you want to do the howl for Howling for Wolves?" And I didn't know what she was talking about.
Yeah.
We were out at the radio station.
Right, Neem Prairie.
Yeah. And I said, "Well, okay." She goes, "Just howl."
Right. Now it's kind of our standard. I mean, people know us for howling.
Yeah. And I've seen the commercial Howling for Wolves on the on some of the other channels and stuff. And
right.
Robert.
You'll be on the next segment, and we'll be Halloween starting that out. So get prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a reflection at the end of the year type thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so hard not to think about like how far this show has come
Right.
since, we
were on 1 hour on Saturday 7 years ago. It's the 7th year coming up.
Robert, that is simply amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't. This is for everything. This is a wonderful program for the Native community. But I think now in general, I mean, I think a lot of people have like been able to listen to this program and kind of got a glimpse into what happens into our community, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because of everything that you do, Robert, and I want to tell you. Thank you for all that you do for our community every year now. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate, not only our natives listening to the show, and they know a lot of our what's going on in the community, and we want to amplify that and remind them, but also our allies out there are so important to us because we've become such a small percentage of people living in Turtle Island that we need all the support we can get. And that's why I think this show has become very successful. And really, Haley and Robert, I think the show is really successful because of guests like you and the conversations we have, because we're not trying to ram anything down anyone's throat. We're just talking and having a conversation. So it's a little different, than a lot of the radio shows out there.
Absolutely.
And Robert, it's always like in kind of in this moment, I think there's this big reflection, right, of what's happened in the past, and then there's this like, okay, what's gonna happen in the future, right? Mm-hmm. And interesting, there's some really interesting predictions that are happening in the renewable energy space and the solar space, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. This is the first prediction here. Electric utilities are going to be using artificial intelligence. Adoption grows. So, meaning everyone that artificial intelligence, a lot of these utilities now are looking, at making them smarter, right? Mm-hmm. Like, how do we conserve our energy? Because we have all these electric vehicles coming online, they're going to be charging. Robert, I don't think a lot of people understand that, in order to charge one of these Teslas or one of these vehicles, like you literally have to, it's like the power equivalent to like 400 homes. You know what I mean? So when you think about that, what kind of a technology on the background are you going to need so that those particular areas receive that type of charging mechanism, right? That power, mm-hmm. But then you still have to serve the rest of the community, right? So, mm-hmm. So utilities are really getting involved with artificial intelligence, and they're expecting this to really grow astronomically, Robert, this next year.
Well, and it'll like, I think you kind of touched on it. I imagine AI is going to be able to tighten the ship up too, where there's waste within the energy community, whether it's energy going places and leaking out, and stop that, and so it more or less, I don't know, tunnels it in, things like that. And that when you said that excites me, because that's the kind of things that are going to be game changers for us.
Yeah. And the number 2 prediction, Robert, is electric vehicle growth continues, but the growth rate slows. Now, this is due to supply chain issues, right? Mm. And the other thing is, the technology is still being developed.
Right.
I just recently we just saw that General Motors is recalling the Chevy, the Trailblazer, or it's like a SUV, right?
Right.
And they're doing a bunch of recalls on these trailblazers because of what do you call the computer programming on them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's things like this that the kinks are still being worked out, and so they're saying that people are slowing down on their buying of these vehicles, but hybrid vehicles, Robert, hybrid vehicles that are both electric and gas are skyrocketing.
That's amazing. Haley, what was the name of that movie that you saw twice and that I saw that just came out on Netflix that Obama produced? Anyways, they had this whole scene where all these self-driving Teslas were ramming into each other because somehow they got programmed that way, and they were all blocking down a highway, and there was thousands of them just driving on their own. The next day, Tesla had a recall after that movie.
Yeah, the movie Leave the World Behind with the electric cars, and then they had the recall like the day after the movie came out.
Yeah. And when are we gonna that's trippy though. That's real news. When are we gonna have wheels that are going around generating power within its power? Do you know what I mean? I'm not a engineer, but you would think the circular going around would generate some kind of battery. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So are you talking about like just just where the battery's just charging itself and in the vehicle's just continuously driving, right?
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. I just want to say hi to my cousin Sherry Goodwin. Hi, Sherry. She's listening to the program on right now. Robert, that is actually those vehicles are being tested right now. Those vehicles are being tested right now. Wow. And they're also testing these vehicles that are covered with solar panels.
Wow.
And so now obviously they can't make these vehicles mass produced yet, but they're coming. And I just think that it's really going to be interesting to see how these vehicles integrate with our society as we move forward and this technology, because all these kinks are being worked out right now.
And quickly. I mean, I can't wait until, and I guess people in the community, and it's not government led, the batteries start getting liquid hydrogen batteries, and I think we talk about hemp batteries. When those things start getting going with the storage for batteries, or whether they're being used in cars too. But again, I only know enough to be dangerous, Robert.
Yeah, and I think the big part of all this, Robert, is this next prediction is education for and collaboration with customers is crucial. And what they talk about in this next piece is, really how educating consumers about all this is going to be paramount to the success for this transition. But I think also, Robert, as you read through these articles, they really also talk about workforce development and how training our workforce for the technical prowess that is going to be needed to work all this in the future is going to be super paramount. And those that do that those are going to be the winners. You know what I mean? And the communities that work on those type of projects like workforce development and training and upscaling, you're right, upskilling their citizenry. Those are going to be the big winners, I believe, Robert.
Yeah, and boy, a lot of things that you've talked about here on Native Roots Radio have come to fruition, and with your Solar Bear reports, and this is really exciting to hear this stuff.
Yeah, and I cannot express how important it is for tribal nations to focus in on workforce development, because there are going to be so many opportunities for tribal nations to go along with this transition. And if we're at the forefront of this, we're going to be able to do a lot of this work and put our community members who are going to be able to have really good paying careers.
Absolutely. Hey, we're here with Robert Blake, owner of Solar Bear, and he's with Solar News and Solar Predictions. And we're going to come up and we're going to do a little howling next segment and then get back with it. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Claudia with MinSure, Minnesota's official health insurance marketplace. With MinSure, you can compare health plans from multiple companies and get free help from a trusted expert. Whatever health plan you choose with MinSure, it's guaranteed to cover essential benefits, so you can get the care you need. See if you qualify for discounts, available only through MinSure. If you need quality, comprehensive health insurance, get started now at minsure.org.
As we gear up for the holiday season, let's prioritize the safety of our community, especially our cherished elders and loved ones. As you plan your holiday gatherings, remember, whether you're young or in good health, you could still unknowingly spread COVID-19. The key to a safer celebration is getting vaccinated. The newest vaccines are authorized, effective against current variants, and FDA approved for ages 6 months and up. So here's the call to action. Be a vaccinative. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Getting vaccinated before your holiday gatherings is a powerful way to ensure a safer and happier time for everyone. Let's honor our elders by preserving their wisdom and stories for generations to come. So be a vaccinative this holiday season. Find more information, including clinics with free vaccines, at vaccines.gov.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Yeah. Wow. Whoa. Yeah. Wow. That was a good howl. Hey, we're here with Bob Blake and the owner of Solar Bear with the Solar News, and we got some predictions and news happening here, and it's the end of the year, and it's been a good year for solar and solar news.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things, Robert, that I want to just kind of touch on real quick is obviously the success of the Inflation Reduction Act. That was passed by this administration, right? And all of the jobs that and all of the money that is this is, I mean, everyone, this has been historical in a sense that what the government has put towards climate change. This has never happened before, and so I mean I think that that's really positive, and we brought so many manufacturing jobs back to this country because of the Inflation Reduction Act. So many jobs have been created in the millions. And interesting enough, the biggest states that are leading in renewable energy are Florida and Texas.
Yeah.
two Republican-led states.
Right.
So they're really going gangbusters. And interesting enough, one of the biggest solar plants that are producing solar panels are actually in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district in Georgia.
Wow.
So this is because they were one of communities that actually went in and put together a package to lure this solar manufacturer into their community, and it worked, Robert. It worked.
And these are the same people that are voting against it and saying that these wind farms are killing animals and the solar doesn't work, and and yet they're talking both sides of their mouths.
Yeah, and I hope that everyone kind of remembers that, this next election cycle, that that these are creating good jobs. They are in these communities that you never would have thought these manufacturing places would be, because they just put together the right package to lure these companies in, and so I really think that's really interesting. Also, too, Robert, I mean, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about passing 100% clean energy in the state of Minnesota, and what our elected officials here in the state of Minnesota did. I think is just incredible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I just want to send a big shout out to all of our elected officials at the state, because that is truly historical. And this coming year, Robert, the Tribal Energy Advisory Board, everyone, was passed.
Yeah.
MNCFA, the Minnesota Green Bank, has been passed. So this will start to get going and getting legs. All of these things are going to be happening that really truly makes, the state of Minnesota a leader in renewables across the country. And I think for other states and other communities to look at and say, okay, how are they doing it? And we can do it. And you're starting to see this, Robert, in Michigan, Wisconsin, and other areas that are looking and following our lead here. So I think it's really exciting stuff happening here.
Absolutely. Hey, Haley has a few things that she's found too, and one of them is renewables covered more than half of Germany's electricity. For the first time, Germany has generated more than half of its electricity's use with renewable energy this year, up 5% from last year. Those are the things that, if there's a will, there's a way, right, Robert?
Well, yeah, and I think if you look at Germany's, climate, it's really similar to Minnesota's, right? And so when people say that, oh, you can't have solar in the wintertime, or no, actually solar works better in the wintertime.
Yeah, so, that's the Skylab or whatever's up there.
Exactly. So the efficiency of the panels are better because they're less, when you produce more heat, like anything, it kind of slows down everything. But interesting enough, in the wintertime, the solar works a lot better. So it's those kinds of things, Robert. And you look at Germany, right? I mean, they've been a leader in this space for a very long time. And if you look at their economy and how connected renewables are connected to their economy, this is why they're going gangbusters, because they realize that cheap energy is an economic driver for their communities and for their country.
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, if there's a will, there's a way. And I think with a Biden second administration, the sky's the limit. As long as we get the House and the Senate like we do here in Minnesota, you can see these things, these progressive things that can happen very quickly.
And that's why I say, Robert, it's so important that people get out and vote and let people hear your voice and vote for those climate champions, because I mean, it's Christmas and we're breaking records here in the state of Minnesota.
Well,
like 50 degrees.
Not only that, Robert, but I mean, it might be fun and good, and we're not slipping around like we did last year, and we had the fourth largest amount of snow recorded in Minnesota's history. But if you're aware of the world around you, our June berry trees started budding last week. So this is not normal for December. Our mother is in great changing right now, and we're worried about all we're worried about is dumb stuff. Look around you, you know. That's a post that I saw, but that's red alert again. You know, we got to get this climate, this catastrophe under control and start really moving on renewables.
Well, to leave us on a positive note, since we only have a couple minutes left.
Haley, wait a minute.
Yeah, well, I will leave us on a positive note, because I think when you look and you start seeing all of the communities that are coming together, that are, putting together their plans, around climate change, that are voting climate champions in. I mean, I really feel like, we're making that shift and we're making that turn. And I, for one, am so excited to see tribal nations getting so heavily involved in the space and really, leading the way. And Robert, I have said this before, and I know you've heard me say this, but it's always been our responsibility to take care of Turtle Island before everybody got here. And it's going to be our responsibility to take care of Turtle Island after everyone leaves. And so that's the way I feel. And that's why I say, like, it's really important for Native people to really get in the space and really let our voices be heard, because, this has always been our inherent birthright to take care of Turtle Island.
Absolutely. What a great way to end the show, Robert. Anything else? How can we find information about you and Solar Bear and Native Sun?
Go to www.solarbear.earth, www.nativesun.org. And I've got some really good articles that are going to be coming out. Got some national press doing some stuff on me, and it's going to be pretty exciting. I think PBS has still got my story coming out, and then BBC has got one on me too. So I'm sure they'll be coming out here in here pretty soon. So really excited for these things that are happening.
Well, have a great New Year's, and it's been a good year, and now we're coming into 2024. And again, thank you for the great words and the positive vibes you bring us, and also today, especially thinking about the past and you and I starting our journeys together, so to speak, and you being on the show in the very beginning.
Yeah, no, it's been wonderful, everyone, and miigwech, and thank you, and hey, that was the Solar Bear with the Solar News.
Right on. Happy New Year. We'll see you next year. I wanted to say that. Hey, if you're listening to this show, you're part of the resistance from Chief Plenty Coops. The ground in which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
And free Leonard Peltier now.